And joining me in the studio is Rémi, Bourgeot, an economist with the Institute for International Strategic Affairs. Thanks for coming in. Now, Huawei is fast becoming the boogeyman, if you like, for governments across the world. Are their concerns legitimate?
Well, Huawei has definitely been at the center of this trade war, and Donald Trump has really focused on this issue, preventing tech transfers to China, especially forced transfers. There are legitimate concerns, of course, in terms of technology transfers, in terms of safety, security for networks in the US and across the globe. But clearly, also, this issue is really at the center of this trade war, and we had seen some easing in the tensions between China and the US in recent months, and then a new deterioration more recently with the announcement of new tariffs on the parts of the US administration. So clearly this additional pressure on US tech groups to sever ties with Huawei are really part of that, and that's a very significant blow to Huawei, especially in the phone business, in its phone business, and it's for its foreign sales, because in China, Google products are already banned to some extent, not Android in itself, but Google apps, and so that will really impact its business abroad.
So how is Beijing likely to respond to this announcement from Google?
Well, they were expecting that kind of measures. They didn't know exactly when, but it seems that Huawei had been preparing itself for such an outcome already for several months, almost a year, it seems. So it's been hoarding all these the chips it could for all this time, and also trying to prepare alternatives to manufacture its own chips, its own processors, to be less dependent on US groups, because it's a very important aspect of this trade war. Chinese tech groups are extremely dependent still on US tech groups. So we're speaking a lot about Android and Google today, but also the fact that many chip makers in the US have to stop exporting to China and supplying Chinese tech groups. That's really one very significant aspect of those measures.
What impact is this going to have on the global mobile telecoms industry?
Well, Huawei had really experienced tremendous growth in recent years. It's become the second vendor of smartphones worldwide, so that's been a very significant success on the part of Huawei. And in the context of those trade tensions, the US administration is shown able to put a stop to that global expansion, not to that expansion within China, but at the global level, certainly.
But is it a little bit too late? Has the horse already well and truly bolted from the stable?
It might be too late in a sense, since Chinese groups will probably able to replace US chips with domestic ones to some extent only. So it's not clear yet really what they will be able to do. The strategy right now has been really kind of a set of emergency measures to make sure they can keep producing phones. But also, for Android, for example, a significant part of Android is open source. That means that the Chinese can rather easily develop their own alternative. But that will be a concern, of course, for customers outside China. Now, there's a great level of standardization in those markets. You could buy a Huawei phone and have pretty much the same kind of services buying an iPhone or something else using Android. But now it will certainly really put a stress on those differences and segmenting the market much more.
Rémi, Bourgeot, we're going to leave it there. Thank you.